I knew it. Another Hurrdat Media Production.
Yo, do you know what, JT? I have the perfect mug for you that I'm drinking out of today.
Yeah, that really, you do, it kind of manifests you.
You know why? Because I was just finishing up the last season, the reunion, and that is the word that came to my mind. Fuck.
Why?
Just like the whole thing. Well, hold on. Before I get into that, I want to tell everybody why I was so beyond excited to have you, because you guys, we were at BravoCon. And by the way, do you notice the red? Because that's when I met you. I was wearing red. I wore it for you. Do you see I'm bringing it all back to you?
You really are. You really are.
So you guys, we're at BravoCon. I have no idea where the fuck I am. And I'm literally walking around by myself. And I walk through a door and JT and I like almost bump into each other. And I was like, yo. And he's like, yo. And it was just love at first. We matched. Our outfits matched. You're with your sisters.
So not to interrupt you, to be totally honest with you, I had my sisters by my side. Like, yeah, I want to be a good big brother, but it was a little contrived because I wanted to make sure if people that I should know pass by, I could know their name because they're all Bravo, like they're Bravoholics. And you were walking my way through that back room, and they're like, that's New Jersey. I'm like, okay, name. I didn't know. I don't know anybody. I knew Kyle Richards and like Andy Cohen, and from just TV. And then I'm like, yeah, this is a beautiful blonde girl. She must be a housewife. So I walk up to you. I'm like, hello. And you're like, hey. I'm like, they just had, and then we're like, I thought you were like super famous, and you kind of
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But now I just like you. And so I'm like, this is my one podcast I'm doing this whole off season. And I vibe with you. And I hope it's a good one because this is the only one I'm going to do because I don't like to do these things that much.
Listen, I didn't know that story. 2, I'm not famous. 3, I love how they were like New Jersey, even though I'm not even on the I do the other pod with Teresa from New Jersey, but I love that they at least recognize me from that. Your sisters were phenomenal. I love them. And I'm so happy that they were like, you guys are, we hit it off and we've had an amazing relationship since. And I'm sure you've met a lot of people at BravoCon, and I've met a lot of people in the Bravo world and just on TV in general, and some aren't the nicest. So when you find somebody that you vibe with, that you get along with, I think you got to hold extra tight because it's hard to come by. That's true and genuine too, I should add.
Well, like when you're a freshman in high school or college, like nobody wants to be your friend.
Yeah,
you're kind of like, or like when you're 23, nobody loves when you're 23. Well, my BravoCon was so interesting because like the show really had a kind of like the fans of our show, like they were showering me with love, but then I would go inside. It was awesome to feel that love. But then I would go inside like the gates where all the other Bravo Lebs are hanging out, and they're like, who are you? Like, why are you relevant? Please leave me alone. So it was like you would go into certain areas and you'd feel like a freshman, and then you'd walk outside where the fans are and you'd feel like the quarterback. It was such an interesting like behavioral science experiment. And it was, thank God I had my sisters and thank God I met you because you were nice to me.
Well, listen, you should always be nice to people. And again, I think listen, what are the chances? I wasn't supposed to be walking that way. You were walking like 5 feet, we would have missed each other. So you guys, this is another reason, besides the fact that, of course, I love Southern Charm and I love JT this season, but just the fact of how I've gotten to know him and since meeting him at BravoCon, like this was a reason I was like, we got to fucking do this. And JT, well, and congratulations, like your first season. Are we celebrating? Are we mad? Are we, what's one word, if you can, to describe your first season?
That's a good question. The one word would just be shell-shocked.
So why?
I mean, last January, I was a financial advisor managing mutual funds, balancing a real estate portfolio, and then the phone rang, and it was like the TV doors opened up, and I was scared shitless to do it. And then somehow I grabbed the bravery and the courage and put myself out there. And you don't have a lot of, you have control over what you say, but then it's just like out of your hands. You don't know it's just improv. And so to go on a national stage on like a well-known, like I live in Charleston, like it's a big deal in this town, and to go and have, it's like when in Willy Wonka, when Charlie gets the golden ticket, like people don't always make it out of the chocolate factory, and to go in the chocolate factory, see it all from above in that little elevator rocket ship in BravoCon and do the show. And this analogy is getting really out of hand, but I
I
made it.
appreciate it.
I
And I get
landed
it.
back on Earth, and like I'm on a podcast with a cool person, you. And a year ago today, I never could have imagined in my wildest dreams that I would be talking to you after the year I just had. Because I think shell shocked is a fair word.
So, okay, so here's the thing, because watching, and this is, if I can say, I want to know what you think of how you were portrayed. If I can say first how I think you were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think like instantly I thought, here we go. We have like another, did he get all his money from mommy and daddy? Like the Southern charm kind of way with these guys. Does he really work? What's this guy about? Just like we've seen with the other guys sometimes. And he has a mouth and he stands up for the ladies, but is he like, is he the savior? Is he the bad guy? Like I couldn't put my finger on who you were. So like, I guess I just wanted to be like, who are you? Like, where the hell did you come from? Is it mommy and daddy's money? Is this like a prop, like your quote event space? Like,
Yeah, it's like did my mommy give me money to like have an event space, and I think that there's a lot of characters on the show, and everybody has their own strengths and things they bring to the table. And I think going back to your last question, like I had never done this before, so I don't even, I think I own maybe 10, 12, 15 businesses. There's a lot of LLCs, right? And I was
you do?
excited to do, yeah, I do. But the only one that was shown, and I'm not complaining because any PR, any press is good press, right? But this event space that I'm sitting in is just like the tip of the iceberg of sort of as a man, like your business is kind of, I mean, I don't have a wife or kids. Like my businesses are my babies. And so I worked really hard over the last 15 to 16 years to get to where I am. I started with nothing other than just two wonderful parents and a great upbringing, but I had to figure it out. And then I did, and then the show called and I did it, and I was excited to kind of like show off about and hopefully, pump those other businesses. Um, the event
And
space
you
was
didn't
the only
see
one.
any
So
of
maybe
that.
if there's another season, I can show some more, but there's a lot more to unpack. And I hope that in the future seasons that more of the businesses and more about who I am as a person are shown. But again, not a complaint. I'm just happy to be here.
So you own, this is just the event space, because we only saw that one thing with your mom in there. That's yours. And then you own 10 to 15 on top of, like, what are there are other event spaces? What are they?
So let me start from the beginning. So I think this is important because I'm not a trust fund guy, and I wish like to a certain extent that I was, because it would have made my life a lot easier. At the same time, I feel like not having a trust fund and starting from scratch out of college, um, it 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 kept me from getting robbed of the feeling of doing it myself and having that confidence that comes from being hardworking, persevering, struggling, and then being successful. But I was a failed soccer player. Like when I say failed, I played in college. I played Division I soccer in Virginia, this place at a place called William and Mary. I wanted to play pro. It didn't work out, thank God, because I'm having so much more fun now than playing soccer. But I started working at a bank, and in a bank branch, like cold calling, like from a closet. I had like $100 in my checking account. I was 21, 22, and I remember very distinctly my girlfriend at the time. I couldn't pay my rent. I had to ask. The rent was like $600 in Washington D.C., and I couldn't make good on my $300. And I had to go to her and be like, "Hey, babe, like, can you pass the mashed potatoes? Like, by the way, like, um, I only have $200 like for the rent this month. Can you help me like get through?" And she looked at me and she was like, I got you. And then I would go to work every day of the week for 7 days of the week. And it was like 7 in the morning to like 11 at night, Monday through Sunday, like thank you cards for meetings on Saturday and Sunday if I didn't have any meetings. And I did that for basically my 20s. And finally, I just made it in finance and had built a pretty unbelievable wealth management practice that I was very proud of. And when you start making some money, you can go to other banks and lenders and you can go get mortgages to buy property. I didn't have any real money yet. And I had to go use my W-2s, just my track record of hard work, to go get loans to buy properties in Charleston, of all places. And they were all like derelict historical buildings. They were like, I don't want to make fun of my properties now because they're beautiful and they all have a story. But when I say they were falling down, they were like falling down derelict. The space I'm sitting in right now is I want to say the 9th property I renovated. But it was derelict. There were wires. I'll send you some photos of the before. Wires. I mean, there probably weren't syringes, but it sure felt like a drug den. And now it's a beautiful event space that I spent 4 years getting approved by the city and renovated. And I know I'm rambling, but you
You're
take
not.
the wealth management business, that was the W-2s you have from there. You grind and you grind and you grind. You renovate historic buildings. You brand it under a collection called the Inns. You can go to theins.com or the Inns on Instagram. I branded all the houses. I branded the event space, the Inns Clubhouse. 38 years old, started with nothing, built one business. And then the craziest thing I've ever done in my life was when the show called. This is so like this takes serious guts. I asked, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I'm just gonna tell the truth because it'll always set you free. But I remember going to the place I worked and being like, "Do you guys care? Like, I've worked really hard. Like, do you mind if I like go do this television show? It's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity." They were kind of like, "No," and I was like, "Okay, well then I have to make a decision, and I'm gonna walk away from this business that I spent 15 years building from scratch." And you can have it back because I'm not going to be on my deathbed one day and wonder what if. And so when I say like I'm all in right now, not to bring it back to the ends, but like when I'm all in, like I walked away, handed the keys to my office, said goodbye to some amazing clients. It's managing millions of dollars across not just the nation, but the world. And I walked away to come try Southern Charm. And there's probably no going back. I mean, maybe there is, but I want to make this work. And I want to keep building the real estate Airbnb conglomerate and partner with other, people in other cities, and spread the brand to, Nashville, LA, maybe do licensing deals. Like I got big dreams for this real estate business, and the show is a megaphone. It's such a neat opportunity to
Mhm.
try to give that business, which is my core baby now, those LLCs, all those houses that sleep hundreds of people a night. It's so cool to think about how it all has worked out. To use the show as a way to really get the word out, podcast with you, and hopefully keep spreading this thing bigger and bigger and bigger. And then maybe along the way, people will see the journey I've been on and have some courage themselves and say, you know what, now's my time to go and do this thing. I need like the guy from Fubu, I forget his name. He's on Shark Tank. Like
Damon.
Damon, he's an absolute G. Like he was a waiter or a bartender
Yeah.
and then started Fubu.
Yeah.
I identify with that. Like I cold call from a closet in my 20s. And now I'm not on Shark Tank, but I'm on TV and it's pretty fun. It's honestly fun. Like who has this opportunity? I just feel so thankful and all the hard work's kind of paying off and it's been paying off. And I get to talk to girls in pretty red dresses from LA and I feel cool.
So like it is cool. And by the way, your story, that's insane because I've had over 100 something people on, right? Most people don't have that kind of story that you do. And I think not only do I appreciate it as a hard worker and a hustler, but like that was me. I was in Ohio and I didn't want the what if I didn't try and what if I didn't do it. And I quit my job. All I had ever known was that family, friends, job. And I left by myself and I moved out here to LA. So the risks, like I can appreciate so much. And sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't. But again, the what if it doesn't like what ifs, I think is worse than trying and going for the risk.
Yeah.
Do you agree now looking back? Because you did it.
I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it. I think life is, as soon as you feel like you made it to the top is when you fall. And that may sound overly humble, but I think that the person I always take the most advice from, I'm able to kind of compartmentalize and go, I'll make a phone call, I'll FaceTime myself from my deathbed. And I'll just say, what do you think I should do here? Because life is short. Like, it's 80 years if you're lucky, 78, 90, whatever, but it's very, very short. And you never know when that time is going to come. And so when I'm really scared, like, do I do the TV show and like there's no lines? It's not like Shakespeare where I know Romeo and Juliet are both going to die in the end, and it's like the audience knows, like, no, there are no lines. It's real. And it could have gone the other way where I could have come out and you could have said, well, my impression of you is you're an evil villain and you're toxic and you should never come back. That would have been detrimental to the business because villains sell tickets, but heroes sell merch. And so it was a conversation I had with the guy on my deathbed of me saying, should I do it or not? Should I walk away from a very healthy income and a cake job that I worked so hard to build? And he just said, I said to myself as I was dying, I said, you'll always wonder. And I was like, that's enough. And that's the same thing with my marriage. My wife was English. She was from London. We were in love, and the government said she's got to go home. And I said, what should I do? And the guy in the deathbed said, you'll always wonder. So get engaged. So I did, and it didn't work out. But I often consult with that guy once every 5 to 10 years, these big life decisions, and life is so short. So I have no regrets about doing the show at all. I'm so happy I did, but I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I did not have a solid night's sleep from probably last December until we ultimately began filming, because I was so nervous to do this.
So then you go on. Had you seen Southern Charm prior?
I knew, I knew the people on the show. But I'd be lying to you if I said I was like an adamant Bravoholic. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd watched a few episodes here and there as it would come on, but I wasn't like. So before I actually began filming, I did watch. I think it was season 7 and season 8, so I would have at least an idea as to, how it all flows. And yeah, so no, I didn't really. I just kind of was like, I'm a real estate developer, ex-finance guy, now doing reality TV, and I'm doing it. I'm trying my best.
So you're not trying your best. You're doing way more than that, JT. And you did it, and you're still doing it. So you go on, you had seen some of the show, you saw some of the players, you kind of saw how this whole thing worked and went. Was it anything like you thought it would be?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I didn't understand. I don't want to talk. I've got to be careful what I share and don't share because of the show, and I know that there's rules, but I never really understood like how a TV show is made, like how many people it takes. I never knew. I never saw like. I just know it was like being behind the scenes of the Wizard of Oz and going, oh wow, this is wild. This is cool as fuck. This is cool. Um, and as a rookie, I just said, I'm going to soak it all up and show up on time and be a good person to the producers and to the other cast best I can, and just be a sponge. But no, I would say it was a lot different than what I was expecting in a good way. It was really cool.
Did you know anyone going into it?
Yeah, of
Like,
course. Yeah. I mean, certain people I knew really well, and then certain people were more arm's length. But there was never. I mean, there was never a moment where I was kind of like, like starstruck or like was like, "Hi, I'm nice to meet you," and tell me more about you. I mean, the only one I would say I didn't really know was Rodrigo, and there's a scene I think on maybe the bar crawl day where I'm like, "Hey, nice to finally meet you." That was the only one I had never. He was the only one I never met, but yeah, everybody else was cool. I knew him and it was cool.
so what do you think was the hardest part of doing it? Because we obviously all saw the whole season. What do you think was the hardest part for you?
This is an easy one for me because the hardest part for me was the last episode, knowing that there was probably 5 to 10% maybe that Taylor would have been like, I feel the same way. I love you too.
The
To
love.
put yourself out there and be vulnerable in front of, I guess, I don't even know how many people watch that episode. Let's just say it's 1 million people. To see 1 million people watch you get shot down, I mean, not many people can say in life that they've ever experienced that. But I also remember before I did it, I was going back to my wealth management days. And I remember feeling in wealth management, there was a breakthrough moment when I was trying to convince a prospect to become a client. And I used to have this spreadsheet. It was a green, red, or yellow. Green was they signed the document to be a client. Red was they said, I'm not interested at all. And then there was yellow, which is the ones where you're like, you've met with them a couple of times and you follow up once. The follow-up's always the hardest because the fear of rejection is real. And the
Right.
yellow was always the biggest column because you met with people and you were waiting to hear back. But I remember yellow was the worst of all three because being in limbo means that you can't move forward in a good way with the green. Red or denial is actually better than yellow. Limbo is hell.
You know.
I know. So I'm like, okay, what's worse? Limbo and feeling that way for her, or red? I was like, yellow's worse than red. Let's just shit or get off the pot here and at least go to red or green because I can't keep staying in yellow forever.
Yeah.
And that was just the way that I built businesses. And you got to get out of limbo in life and just shit or get off the pot.
Did you always want to do it? Like I know you were the one that's like, what if? So I knew you would go for it. Did you want to do it on camera or were you like, shit, maybe I should wait till we're not filming? Or was it just like in a moment, like I got to do it. I just got to do it now.
If you remember, like I was laying down and my therapist, Rod,
Right.
like, I think I had told Rod and I was being very genuine. I was like, I'm not going to say it to Taylor today and I'm not going to confront, you know who about anything else. I'm going to just have a nice time in that. And before I do it. And then I don't know. It just, yeah, I did it and I don't regret it because I got put into red like your dress, and that's a better place than you in a yellow dress or her. It just you gotta get a limbo. That's the analogy.
Are you still in red with Taylor?
I think that there's red, but now it's clear. Like when you send the clear heart emoji, it's like that
Yeah.
now.
Got
So it's
it.
like we're able to I'm on a group chat with her and her dad, her mom and her dad. Like I probably talk to them more than her now because she got a new boyfriend. But no, me and her are strong. We're good friends, and it's not awkward. And we can grab a beer and just be homies. It's not awkward at all. And I'm happy for her. And I think a real man can take an L and still maintain a friendship with a woman. A true simp, will hide in vulnerable land, stay in limbo, not tell the truth about how they feel, always wonder because they're scared. And when they get rejected, if they have the courage to tell them, they start flexing and ignoring and almost, putting like flexing on the girl because they didn't get what they wanted. And that's not my vibe. With her, I want to see her win. And it seems like she's happy and I'm happy for her.
So are you cool? Like you're cool. Like, hey, tell me about your new man. Cool. Are you like, no, I don't want to know that though.
I mean, I'm not like, tell me about your love life with him. Like, is it good or bad? I'm not like, we're not getting granular. I would just assume that she's happy and that's enough for me. I don't need to ask about how things are with her and her new man like that.
Are there still feelings there?
If feelings of, I would say, white heart emoji love. And like, if she was ever like, hey, I've had a huge change of heart. And then, we would meet in person and talk about it. But I am not holding my breath in that conversation. So.
Okay. So for those who, because you started out by saying like he's an evil asshole or like he's a really good guy and he's like a mommy's guy. Like for those who say, watch the show and said, he's a mom's boy, he's a good guy. What do you say to those people?
Gosh, I would say, like the trolls and the haters that say JT's a simp, he's a mommy's boy, he was given everything. Like, before I did the show, I sat down with probably like, 50 to 100 people, my closest friends and family. And I said, look, I'm going to do this thing. It's a TV show, right? I'm gonna just keep being me, tell the truth, and there's gonna be a lot of haters. And um, what would I tell them? I don't care. Just hate me all you want, but I know who I am, and my close friends and family do too. My business partners, and is that saying like you're never gonna find a hater doing better than you. So just keep on hating haters. Do it. Do your thing.
So would you say the same thing to people who are like, he's an asshole, or, go the other route and paint you as that picture?
He's an asshole. He's fake. I think you just over time, I think not to get super deep, but I feel like people are just not, there's no one who's just inherently always 100% of the time good or evil. I think being a human being, part of the cool thing is that you have free will. And a good person to me is just somebody who overwhelmingly chooses good over bad. But I would be lying to you if I was pitching a perfect game every single day of my life. I make mistakes and I am not inherently perfect. And I'm like everybody else, just trying my best to make the right decision as many times in a row as I can, so that one day people go, yeah, he is actually a good dude because he chose the right thing. And I think that people that get villainized on the show are usually the ones that, or in life, that just they make the wrong decision too often and they get labeled or branded as a bad guy. So how people think I'm a bad guy after that first season, when I shoot my shot and get denied in front of millions, okay, fine. Just keep watching. I'll keep trying to make the right decision.
So like, going back, you said the hard thing was the Taylor thing. Was there something that you wish, though, because I know you don't like to live with regrets, but is there something that happened during the season that you wish you would not have said or done, or could change and go back?
Look, it's hard to hold yourself accountable. I think it's hard to look back at yourself sometimes. We know better than to get physical, and that's not how you do things. That's not right. And I think the one thing I would change was even getting so heated and getting physical. I would change that. I would use words, not fists. I think that's probably the one thing I would change.
So where are you now with everybody? Like, I know we don't need to rehash like all the reunion, like whatever, but like, where are you with everybody? I know it's difficult, and I've said it a million times, that there are like 3 parts to doing a reality show. There's the filming of it, there's the watching back of it, and then there's the reunion. And like each part is such a different part. You film it, and then you have to watch it back months later after you could be in a completely different place. You have no idea what the fuck people said in interviews. You don't know full situations. And then after all that, you have to go and you have to like rehash it all out at the reunion when everyone's like full of emotions after watching it back. So what part was like difficult, the most difficult for you? The filming, the watching it back, or the reunion?
I want to give you, it's a really good question. What's the hardest part? They're all inherently difficult. The filming part, here's the golden rule that I went in with. It was just don't lie. Just tell the truth. Because I think that trying to remember what you said and did, if you just tell the truth, you can remember what the truth was. If you start lying, it can get very tricky, because then you see the edit and go, oh shoot, I said that then, but I just said that. And if you just tell the truth, so I try to just always tell the truth, whether it's the reunion or filming, be myself, stay true to who I am. I would say honestly, and this is just, it's hard. I mean, just watching yourself back, like to prepare for the reunion, to see what all the different people said and did, that was hard. Just, I don't like seeing myself on camera. I just don't. I mean, maybe that's me admitting that I'm partially insecure, but I'm like, oh God, that's, when you pose for a photo, like you want to get the right angle. I'm like, whoa, those camera guys really fleeced me on that angle there. And it's like, it's hard. So you're like, I mean, like, damn, am I really that, like, do I really have that chin from that angle? Like, you're like, what? How? I don't, and then you look in the mirror, that's not, and you're like, so I think that just battling the insecurity of watching yourself on tape. But then I think about like Michael Jordan or Tom Brady. The reason why they were so good was because they watched themselves on tape. You got to be a
Watch the
man and
tape.
just watch it, own it, and then just deal with it. So getting good at watching yourself on tape, that was the hardest part for me the whole time.
I mean, hello, you're forgetting those like times in the scene, JT, when we're like no top on and, you know, our biceps are bulging and our abs are going. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those scenes
Those
were
are
more
the
fun
right
to
angles.
those scenes were more fun to watch than jumping off a yacht with a ducky around, like in like headphone. I mean, yeah, there was pros and cons to all, Melissa. You're right.
So was that tough too? Because like you are at a spot and you're like, oh, we're cool here, we're cool here. And then you start watching it back and you see the interviews and you see what's going on when you're maybe not in a scene, or you see what people are saying in their interviews. What was the most shocking? Was it besides seeing yourself?
I mean, another good question. I think that one of the things to tie in the trolls and some of the vernacular or the show is like in 38 years of life, I don't think I can count on one hand people that have called me a tool or a nerd, like ever. So like the fact that like so many people now on Instagram or TikTok are just like, yo, you're SDE, you're a nerd, you're a simp, you're a bitch, you're a tool, you're a whatever. Like I'm like, huh? What? And then like to hear certain edits where you're like he's giving nerd vibes or he's a nerd or he's a tool from people. Like I'm like, am I? Then you go, am I a tool? Have I been wrong this whole time? So like the blur, you get a little blurred, like warped, like because so many people are like pouring it on, and
The
then other
noise.
the noise, and you go, wait, am I a mommy's boy? Am I a nerd? No, actually, I'm not. I have to refer back to my body of work as a 38-year-old man. I'm not, but it can get blurry, and you got to just keep a close nucleus and remember who you are.
But has that been difficult because of the you know, everyone's like, don't read social media. Like that is such bullshit. If you tell me someone that's like, I'm not looking at the comments sometimes, I don't believe them. Like,
No, I think that again, back to the watching of the film back, like a simp or a tool or a nerd would just not. I mean, you need to keep a pulse as to like you want to get better. Like I always wanted to just keep getting better, whether it's physically better, financially better, better with my family, friends, relationships. Like you gotta hold yourself accountable, and you gotta listen to some of the trolls. And I firmly believe, as painful and hurtful and as it can be, you will find glimmers of truth, and you go, all right, maybe I gotta tweak that a little bit to get better. And so I read it all, and I'll respond sometimes to the trolls. I kind of enjoy it. Like I'm like, some people say things, I'm just like, I gotta pop off a little bit here.
everybody always has to
I mean, it's
sometimes.
kind of fun to just mess with the troll here and there. They're kind of fun.
It feels good because, like you
Yeah.
said, you're the one doing it. So it's a lot easier to sit on a computer in a dark room in your mom's basement, you know, like trolling on people than it is to be in front of the camera after you quit your job of 15 years doing something. Like you didn't move back to Charleston chasing this show.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you risked a shit ton for this. So it
Yeah, I mean,
has to be
you
difficult.
could say I'm all in for sure. I mean, it wasn't even. I mean, let's really get granular for a second. It wasn't a job. Like, yeah, I technically had a boss, but I was essentially like a sole proprietor. Like, it was my business. Imagine just like building a business for 15 years. The hard part's over. There was a saying that my mentor gave me once, which was, "You'll never work so hard for so little, to one day work so little for so much." And I was in that phase. I was in the work so little for so much and surrounded myself with clients that I loved, getting paid a lot. And to do this new door open TV path, to just hand the keys to my office and hand that business back for free, I'm either dumb or an old soul that knows that this life is short. And feeding my soul as much abundance as I can possibly have in hopes that if I ever come back, it'll somehow serve me or my family in the future later in a better way. So I don't know which one's right. Maybe I'll look back and regret this forever, but that guy on his deathbed said, you'll always wonder. And now I don't have to ever wonder.
Could you imagine of doing it without Rod?
Oh, man. God, what a good guy. And no, I mean, I would have done it. I would have done it without him. But my God, he being able, because it's a lot of times like you need someone as a rookie to like talk to and like commiserate and be vulnerable with, and like it's scary. And neither of you know. It's like imagine being, and he uses analogies, but like I couldn't imagine being the only freshman. Like
Yeah.
when you're on the bench or like you're getting not hazed, like where you have to clean, like to have someone else with you cleaning the dirty jerseys when the rest of the team's in the cafeteria, to not be alone and have someone who's an authentic friend. It made all the difference in the world for me, and I know it helped him too. And God, it was hard. It's hard in a lot of ways, but having a good friend to have along my side and to be there for him for a year, that was invaluable. I'll always be thankful for the show, for the network, for doing us or helping us both so that we weren't alone.
I mean, did you feel alone? Because you keep going back to those analogies, like I'm the one, I'm the one cleaning up while they're on the field, right? I'm cleaning up the dirty jersey. Like, did you feel alone a lot? Other than Rod, did you really feel alone a lot during the show?
I think that there are tremendous resources at the show does give tremendous resources. I never like it's a phone call away. It's like they're there, but you almost don't want to call because of your own pride. It's like I don't want to call the coach because we're 1 month into my freshman season and I'm scared about XYZ. Who can I call? You call your teammate. You call the guy who's there doing it with you, because you want to kind of keep it a secret. And that's not in any way to throw shade at the coach or the network or anything. It's just you do feel alone and you feel confused because you've never done this before.
Right.
Like I could sit here and talk to you about bonds and stocks and retirement planning and trusts and all. I could rap with you about some of the most wild financial gizmos and gadgets, or real estate investing or development. Like and you would gloss over because it wouldn't mean anything to you. But someone like Shep or Craig going into season 9, they could be sitting there telling me kind of how the year's going to look, and I'm like, huh?
Totally.
Because it's like a new language, and it's cool,
Right.
but it does take time to learn that language. So having Rod, who also was like, we're both toddlers, like goo goo gaga, boo, boo, it's just like we had each other's toddlers, and it was invaluable.
So your mom, you're close with. Your mom was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
People love. Did your mom watch the show?
I mean, Bunny, my mom, she doesn't watch reality TV a lot, but she is kind of a queen. She's badass, as you saw on the show. She doesn't take shit, and she didn't. I mean, she raised me right with my dad, and she supported me, and I can't believe she agreed to film. I mean, I asked her, and I go, was she filming me? Because they were like, we need to film you with your mom. I was like, hey mom, will you filming me? And she was like, I made you. If you need me to protect you and like be there for you, I made you. I have no decision, but yes, I'll do anything you need to protect you and be there for you. And if you tell me you need me, I'm there. And she did it, and she crushed it. And at BravoCon, people were asking to FaceTime her. I was like, what about me? They're like, can we call your mom? I'm like, I'm here. I was like, next year she should come and I should sit at home.
She was a rock star. I just was wondering what people closest to you, if they watched, what they thought. Like, because we all know what your thoughts are and how you see yourself. But like, and we know how people that don't know you all over the internet might say, but like people that know you, not on the show, what they thought.
I bifurcate my personality in 2 ways: JT and Jarrett. Like even my Instagram handle, JT.JarrettThomas, whatever it is. JT's the goofball, charming one, arm chug thing, and like just entertainer. Jarrett's the one that pays the bills and like builds business and like is a boss. And the feedback a lot of my close friends and family said was that we saw a lot of JT, and that's cool. But like maybe next season try a little Jarrett. And I'm like, gotcha. All right, cool. So maybe next season I'll be a little bit more Jarrett. But
But
we'll
didn't you
see.
want to show that and try to show that because you wanted to show more of like your business side?
I think that when you agree to do a show, you you do you I gave both, and it just the storylines played out in a way where I did have feelings for Taylor, and there was some beef with another individual on the show, and that's fine. I'm a team player. My freshman year, especially, like you know, I want the team to win. So if they needed JT more than Jarrett for season one, then like cool, then take JT. Like I'm confident I can handle getting some shit from all over the. Look, it was a positive. I'm not here like to complain or feel sorry, but I'm happy, and I feel like I got a great edit, and um, was true to myself. And things. There's so much you film. You're filming for months and months. I think I want to say they take like 5 or 10%, and they have to get. There's only 42 minutes an episode, so
It's nothing.
it's nothing. So to get even on the show was hard, and then to get clips and footage on the show is huge. And so I hope next season maybe there's some more business stuff and more Jarrett. But like I'm a team player, and there's a huge success this season for all of us and the show and the network, I believe. So mission accomplished, and yeah, that's how I'll leave it with that.
So like you said, the show, it's amazing. I mean, you go in and there's fans that love you and this and that. But then you get some people that claim to be like an ex and they make these videos. Like, what do you say to these people that are, because again, when you sign up for a reality show, you never know what you're going to get. You get the great and then you get like that stuff. What is that about?
Yeah, like one of the things you have to think about when you do this is you're putting yourself on a national, but also I guess international spotlight. It's a big show. I think someone told me, one of the producers said it's in 27 countries, which is a lot of places.
Same.
So there's a lot of people that have a lot of thoughts, and there's a lot of people also from your like skeletons from your past. And so one of the considerations is like before you put yourself on whether you're running for office or doing a national show, especially reality TV where there's no lines, skeletons in your closet are going to surface, and how you respond to those skeletons and that not propaganda, but that shade, the trolling from people that claim they know you, or my policy with that is, and I think the United States does a pretty good job with international diplomacy. Like we don't negotiate with terrorist nations. We won't even hold an audience. Our ambassadors don't hold meetings, at the Pentagon or the White House. So if a troll wants to troll me, I consider that, not to sound dramatic, but emotional terrorism, and I don't negotiate with terrorists. And so there's a couple people out there that are making noise, and I could validate and give them a platform with a response, but I'm going to take a page out of the U.S. international diplomacy, and I'm not going to grant them an audience. And they can say whatever they want to say, and I'm rooting for them, but I don't really mean that.
I mean, that probably could not have been better well said if I scripted it myself. I just appreciate how well, thank God you're confident, because I wonder how some of these people go on, especially their first, I don't care if it's their even 10th, and they don't have the confidence to deal with these things. And some of these things can really, sometimes it's like you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And I feel like some of these people don't know when to fold it because they want the show so bad. They want the quote, like the fame. And I feel like you are one that would know, I'm here, this is who I am, and I know how long I want to do it or not do it, but I'm smart enough to like recognize either way. Whereas I feel badly because I watch and I'm like, oh man, they should have gotten out, or like one season too long or 2 seasons too long. And now it's like hitting them like a tidal wave.
Yeah, but you're an expert on this because you cover this. I'm gonna ask you a question, even though it's your show. But like, would you say, I know it's a knee-jerk answer, but like, would you say that the people that usually do get villainized, it's not it's not their show that weaponizes a particular edit per se. It's their bad decision making, and
Yeah.
usually their web of lies
Correct.
that sinks them. So if you stick to the golden rule, I think, of reality TV, just don't lie, no matter how bad you fuck up. Like, I don't want to throw shade at the Vanderpump show, but like, I gotta just say this because and I'm probably gonna get in trouble, but whatever. I watched the Vanderpump reunion. Not that I give two damns about their stuff, but I just wanted to learn before I did my reunion how a reunion is done, because it was apparently a really successful one. They had like 3 episodes, right?
Oh, that was
And the
not.
thing that was the most horrible thing of all, and again, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I'll own it, is the layers of lies. And I remember the 3rd episode when they have the other lady, Raquel, right?
Yeah.
Raquel? Okay. Raquel comes back and they're like, and then she's like, well, actually, I was coached going into the reunion to lie. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
no.
I know.
That's like the Cardinal. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
It
And
was a
like,
lot of bad.
if you just don't lie, it makes your life a lot easier. It's hard to tell the truth, but then it'll be a lot easier later on reality TV because you're not going to get away with it. You're not. There's too many people watching.
Which is probably why then, because that's such a part of you and your truth, that you had issues with others maybe on the cast, because it's like, just tell truth. Just like, tell the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I would be sitting here being disingenuous with you if I told you that I never lie, because I'm human and I do lie sometimes. And it's something that I think we all struggle with, and because it can be hard to tell the truth. There's so many instances that I've, anyways. But I do think that where am I going with this? I do think that we covered it all at the reunion pretty much, but I don't want to talk too much about the lies on my show because we've already kind of hashed it all out. But I think talked about this with you earlier this week or last week, I can't remember, on the phone, but it was like some of the stuff that I saw this season would have been so much more manageable if it was just addressed honestly in the beginning. And so, but I guess that's why we have a show, because without lies and deceit and manipulation, there wouldn't be a show. So
people want drama.
That's humans. It's just the human experience being documented and without lines. It's actually pretty cool.
So of all things that I know certain things, but like, you're not doing any more podcasts. Like, this is it for this season. What is something or some things that you want people to know about you? And maybe we already said it, that maybe they didn't know, or whatever from the show.
I think that I'm so grateful for the opportunity and to the people that have come out and showed so much support. And I guess now this is my one podcast, and I really do like you. I think you're awesome. That's why I wanted to do it with you. I think it would just be to the haters, just so that they know that it's not just some little mommy's boy who isn't really, a real man. I mean, I think a real man can be vulnerable and honest. And I wasn't given much, and I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. And in time, you'll get to know me better, and you'll see a real boss. And I'm not just a little mommy's boy simp. I'm not. And it feels good to just say that and know it's gonna you'll transmit it, and the hater, oh, he's lying, he's contrived, he's evil, he's just trying to manipulate. How is it Austin Shep, and he's doing the same? No, it's not. It's different. And yeah, I think Jarrett and JT, getting the Jarrett out there, I think is because I worked really hard to get where I am. So that's what I wanted to get out today.
Well, if I can say, I think you are fucking incredible.
Oh, thank you. You're incredible.
No, I think you are.
Well, I think you are.
No, stop. Tell me one more time. No. There's a million reasons why, again, I wanted to talk with you and have you on, but there are a million Bravo people out there, and there are not a million Bravo people that you connect with and that you feel are real and genuine and just a good fucking person. And that's what I try to live by, just being a good person. Not like, I've always said that maybe my podcast would be bigger if I was always like, trying to go like the aha gotcha moment, or like going in for the jugular to like get the headlines, but like that's not how I roll either. So I'm really happy that you entrusted me to have this conversation with. I really wanted to get your voice out there, because a lot of people go out and do podcasts and they get the voice out there, and they get that, well, this happened, but this, and they get to tell their side of the story. I wanted you just to, not even a side of a story, but like who you are and who you want us to know who we are, in case we didn't know. It's one season. So that's really why I wanted you to do this too. Is there anything else that like you want to say, that you want people to know? Anything?
I would love for people to, if they're coming to Charleston, stay at one of my properties at the inns. Go to the inns.com. Come take advantage of the event space, which actually I just got the business license approved after 4 years today. Today, it took me 4 years.
Today?
This morning, yeah. Actually, I have it. I'm going to show it. Where is it?
That's amazing.
Hold on 1 second. Shoot. Where's that business license? Well, I had it, and then apparently I lost it. I can't find it, but it's in here somewhere. So come, if I can find the business license, come have a rehearsal dinner. Come do that. Or just come to Charleston and come just DM me, and we'll do an arm chug. Because as you could see from my BravoCon, like the edit I put together, like I the fans, like Kevin Hart once said, he's like, you think alcohol or heroin are addictive? Try like feeling the love that comes from fame. That is the most lit drug there is. Not that I do drugs, but I really enjoy connecting with the fans. They're fun, and connecting with people like you who are passionate about this whole network and the reality TV thing. It's been really cool, and I hope people come to Charleston, because I only get to go to BravoCon once a year, and so come here. Let's hang out. You too.
Here, you guys. Listen, I need to get my ass there for sure. If anything, I want to stay at one of your inns. Okay, so where can everyone find you? Where can everyone find the inns? Let's tell them all one more time.
You can find me on Instagram, JT, whatever. I don't know the name. And then the ins.com. And you can also go on my Instagram and just pull up. There's a link in the bio to the event space and the collection of Airbnbs. And by the way, the event space, which I'm in, is walkable to all the fun attractions, restaurants, bars, and all the Airbnbs. So it's all right here. Just come check it out.
That's amazing. I'm so I know this might sound weird, but I'm so proud of you. I think that you handled yourself like a rock star on your first season, and it's very difficult waters to navigate, especially when you're with people for so long, very seasoned vets.
Yeah, you think it's easy. I'm friends with Craig and pretty good friends with Shep. When you're on a set and they've been there this is their 9th time around the sun, and this is your first time, you're just whether it's basketball, football. Imagine being Mike or LeBron James' son one day playing for the Lakers next to LeBron James.
Totally.
It's not to the same degree, but there is sort of this, whoa, you guys are really good at this, and I'm just trying to learn and take advice. And actually, I'll give Craig credit. Craig really gave me a bunch of good advice, and I leaned into Craig and Vanita and Madison and a few others, Leva for sure. I really strengthened some relationships that were already there. And I love when people go, "Oh, you're Madison, you're dude Madison." I'm like, that is a serious compliment. That doesn't get better than that. I'm like, little old me, male Madison, let's go. Something now, haters.
So other than Rod, who would be your first call from the cast?
That really has changed over the last year. Initially, it probably would have been Craig. But now it's the girls. I'm really, that term, a fog. I feel like a fog, like a friend of girl. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, do I call, like Madison was texting, we were texting yesterday. Leva and I are about to do I think maybe do some business together for some real estate business. Vanita and I are like, I mean, not just like tell all, but like, Pilates at times.
Oh, I love that.
And yeah, it's just, I guess I self-identify now more of a Southern Charm fog, and working on the male relationships. So we'll see if this next season we can repair and move forward productively.
Well, you're cool with Shep and Craig. It's just basically one, I feel like. No?
Yeah, no, I think I think Craig and Shep, I think, it's like men are interesting. I guess women are the same too in some ways with territory, but like there does seem to be a little bit of like, get in trouble for this one, like can't really be super tight with him because of this. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
there's like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
totally.
I get that, and I'm cool with that. And I think that over time, as relationships are mended and repaired, it'll all be cool under the sun with everybody. But for right now, I think we got to get back into season 10 and have some hard conversations and try to move the ball on the field in a productive way.
Do you want to mend specifically a certain relationship?
You never want to go through life like, I mean, hate is so exhausting. Love is so much easier. Hate's exhausting, and I think wherever you have an opportunity to eliminate or at least reduce intense feelings of negativity, it changes your whole spiritual being, and you burn less mental calories focusing on the negative, and you can get back to positive and do cool stuff. So I'm always open to trying to get to Positiveville with everybody. But in order to do that, I think it takes, two to tango, and it's not just going to be a donation. It's going to have to be where it's a relationship where probably both have to work at it. I don't know if that's going to happen.
You need more Rod time on the couch. You need more therapy sessions.
I can never get enough time with Rod. He's a good one.
I thought you were going to say I could never get enough time with Rod on the couch. And I was going to be like, yeah.
I think I did say that, but I think you're taking it out of context. And now I don't trust you anymore. No, I'm kidding.
I fucking love you. I am so happy. I want to, like, this was almost one of my most important one ever to like feel like I did you justice.
Thank you. I am getting dumped on. Like, I'm getting dumped on, and I knew that was going to happen, but I'm getting dumped on. And it's cool to see, like, in the very beginning, people were like, oh, we love JT. He's like harmless and fun. Then I started to beef, and everyone's like, drew the lines in the sand. Like, now I'm getting dumped on. And I think that in a way, that's a good signal. I think you can be the president of the United States if you have 51% of a big number. I don't need 100, but you just don't want to dip below 40, like 50. I'm trending towards that line, and I want to do what I can. So this podcast with you, hopefully whatever these words have been today, gets me 51, 52 to 48, 49, especially in this election year. So
you're at least at 51 in my book.
You think I'm at 51?
Yes, for sure.
I'd rather be loved by 51% of a million than 95% of 10,000.
Oh, that's
you
true.
can do more with there's a lot more positive than all the negative. Like, actually, it's like, oh, just the 49ers, but I like San Francisco 49ers. I don't want to shame them. That's a cool city, but the 49ers, the haters, if that number ever became 51, that would be really hard. That means you're doing something wrong.
So what I would ask for you to do, because again, I have seen this, is to not focus on that. The only 49ers, like, I want you to focus on are the team. Listen, you're doing an amazing job, and there's always going to be fucking haters. You will never please everybody. Never, ever, not ever. You could literally be like, I just did everything perfect. Boom. You could be Kobe and score 70 points in a game, and someone's going to say, why didn't you score 72? So, like,
yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that, like, I am comfortable having the 49% still be there, but focusing my attention on the 51.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, learning to be comfortable with so much hate and vitriol, but really focusing and being intentional with giving your time and energy to the 51 or greater. Like that's the game now, and it's a new game every day I wake up. It changes. It's pretty fascinating. What a cool human experience this has been.
Well,
It will
listen,
continue to be, hopefully.
it will continue to be. I'm so excited we did this. And again, I just wanted to feel like I did you good. Like I did.
You did. I mean, the truth will always set you free, and you opened up the doors of truth. So thank you. And I hope to see you in the halls in the next BravoCon and then next January on a podcast, if not sooner.
Well, and no. Charleston before that. I gotta come check out your beds, your inns, your beds and your ends.
Well, if I
All
can
the above.
if I can ever leave the couch with Rod, we can meet. I can show you the beds. This got weird, but I understand what you're saying, and I love you too. And
I'm here for it all, baby. I can't wait to
I'm
see
here
your
for it.
bed. I can't wait to see the inns, and I can't wait to see you next season.
I'm excited. Thank you so much for giving me a chance and for being lost at BravoCon. I'm so happy that we ran into each other. It's been serendipitous. Thank you.